My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, and it was a test for Team India. Make no mistake about that. This is a decider. Virat Kohli not playing, Rohit Sharma gets out early, Shikhar Dhawan under 20, and suddenly it's up to an unfamiliar middle order to try and put things right and do what India haven't done well in the recent past, which is set a score. And they look like they've set something more than very decent in this particular deciding game. 174 for 5, and look at those 2 half centuries, both outstanding from Shreyas Iyer, 62 of 33, and KL Rahul 52 of 35. And don't mistake the contribution down the order of Manish Pandey, an unbeaten 22 of just 13 deliveries, and that really has catapulted them into something that could potentially be a winning total, due notwithstanding. 2 gentlemen in the studio. I'm going to come straight to the one who's sitting on the My 11 Circle expert couch. It's been a while, but I think you need to savor it.
I think it's a very good total on this track. We've seen that the surface has been a little too paced. The ball is slowing down also, and you can't as a batsman really trust the bounce also of the surface. You saw some deliveries actually climbing up, and most of the deliveries were keeping low. So keeping that in mind, I think even if dew is a factor, yes, it can help a wicket get a bit better. But on the whole, I think the dimensions of the ground also matter, and I think it's a relatively big ground for anyone to hit sixes. You got to be really having that ability, which we've seen Bangladesh is lacking to a certain extent. So I think keeping these 2 factors in mind, I think Indian bowlers should be able to do the job, and that's what the glimpses of the coach also showed. Like he was looking relaxed. I think he was concerned at one stage when Indian team lost Rohit Sharma, and then Shikhar after a decent start lost his wicket. But I think that dropped catch of Shreyas did help build that partnership, which was a very crucial partnership, I felt, provided the conditions were tough to bat. I think at that stage 3 wickets down would have put a lot of pressure on the batsman coming in, which was Rishabh Pant or Manish Pandey for that matter at that stage. So that partnership was a really required partnership from Indian batting lineup. KL Rahul, I felt, batted beautifully. He looked the most comfortable batsman. Shreyas really used the opportunity when he had that off spinner coming at him to put pressure. That 20-run over did make the momentum shift in India's favour at that stage.
Yeah, but mentioning about the coach looking relaxed, doesn't he always look relaxed?
He's always looked relaxed, and thankfully today, it was very good that coming to Nagpur all this way. Aminul Islam had some nice and ghee with lunch and forgot to wash his hands, because those 2 dropped catches are going to be very expensive for them.
Yeah.
He had butterfingers and he just couldn't. And with that second catch, he said the ball has to follow me around. First I dropped Shreyas when he's not even opened his account. Then here's a catch where I can really seal it and put it off. So yeah, that would have helped them at all. The other interesting thing is that bowling attack. I mean, you look at it, and Mahmudullah has not used Shomo Sharkar at all in the first game. And he comes in, and take a look at that. He's bowled 4 overs. He's the pick of the bowlers. And you've seen bowlers coming in who haven't bowled before in this thing. But rarely have you seen a situation where somebody does not bowl at all in the previous match, comes in the next match and is the best bowler.
India will also have that similar situation, with Shivam Dube coming in. I think, with that regard, we'll see similar. But today's surface, I think, is going to give that much of comfort to these part-time bowlers as well. Like Soumya Sarkar also having not bowled much in the series, he could do a job today because surface allowed him to do that with his variations, with his into the wicket slower ones really worked today. I think the little disappointment was Mustafizur. He is their leader of the bowling attack, and had a off day. Had he been a little more at his usual best, then I think things would have been different, because the surface was certainly not a surface of 170. Someone needed to actually bat through and through, which didn't happen. I think that inexperience did show there with Shreyas not really finishing. I think at the 10-over mark also we were talking about that these things matter, and these things actually proves that difference of that above par score which we've been talking about. Those 10-run difference, which is huge in this format.
But having said that, yes, you would have liked him to stay on a little bit longer, but you'll still have to give full credit to Shreyas Iyer, because he's in that sort of position where he's made runs in the West Indies, not always a permanent fixture. in the ODI format, and then looking at the shortest format.
Absolutely, and I think more and more, given the way he batted today, the maturity with which he batted today, you'll have to ask yourself, why isn't he more of a fixture in the format? Because he has shown. See, the one other thing is that again we talk about six-sitting ability, and Shreyas can hit it with the best of them. And in this format, power is important. Why is power important? Because your first two guys could end up getting out in the 15th over. When you walk in, you might need to whack from the very first ball, even if you're a number 3 or a number 4 batsman. And Shreyas has that power, that ability to be able to muscle a ball out of the ground. And he saw the conditions. He saw that, okay, this is a one over the off spinner, and he really took his toll. So it was intelligent batting. I think he paced his innings well. When Rahul was going well, he didn't take too much pressure on himself. But I think he did really well for India. He got out, yes, he could have maybe lasted a couple more overs, but I think he did the job for India.
We talked at the beginning of the game about 17 T20 internationals as a preparation, but this will certainly at least start that issuing of the ticket to Australia for Shreyas Iyer.
Well, I think he has been claiming that spot, and all the slots in the team are up for grabs. You know, it's about players stepping up, using the opportunity. Virat Kohli is not part of this this series, so you know that provides also another opportunity for someone like KL Rahul, which I think did fantastically well to make sure that his claim for that spot is there. So that's how it goes, and at international level, you know, you are as good as your last game. That's the way all the players should look at it. So every opportunity you get is your last one. You know, one should approach it in that fashion to go the distance. I think you asked the best of the players, and they will echo the same kind of sentiments. You know, be it Virat, be it Rohit. I think, you know, it's about keep pushing that bar, and it's about making use of every day and make every day count.
It's a quote I heard the first time from Rahul Dravid, chatting with him about making a debut at Lord's alongside Sourav Ganguly, and how he was trying to mentally prepare himself to be a batsman batting so low down the order. And he said there's only one thing he had in his mind, and that was assuming that's his first and last test match. How would he approach that? And he played a few more after that.
He played a few more after that. Nobody has ever played as many balls in test cricket as he's played, some 35,000 balls. Can you imagine? I mean, he spent the equivalent of 3 months, 4 months of a person's life on a crease. But you know, more than that, I think today, you know, just seeing these batsmen, the interesting thing was actually 4 guys really got timing to a certain extent. It was Shikhar got a bit of timing, Manish towards the end got a bit of timing and then seemed to lose it. But these two people, they capitalized on the way they timed the ball. I mean, Rishabh, you could make out from the start, just wasn't getting it. Rohit wasn't there long enough. But Rishabh just looked out of place today, and it's one of those days.
And it was a big difference. It was not too different to start in Delhi and Nagpur. And you suddenly started thinking that, oh, 140, 145 are Bangladesh favourites again. But the difference came in this match between what happened in the middle overs as opposed to what happened in the first T20 international. Let's take you back to what happened in Delhi and show you the progression of scores. 35 for 1, not too different when the first 6 overs in the power play. Then that 60 for 3 at under 7 and over from 7 to 15 really held the momentum back, and it took just a little bit. Look at the difference between 7 to 15, 9.77 for the loss of that 1 wicket, the partnership and the momentum.
Absolutely. And if you look at it, we didn't actually finish as well as we finished last time. Last time we got 10 in the last few overs, we got 9. But that is decisive, and that's the period where Shreyas and Rahul were together, and they really made, you know, took full toll of it. Even when Rahul went, you know, Shreyas took control of it for a while he was around. That was the difference.
And that 45 for 2 at the end could have been a few more had Shivam Dube found the timing, which he still hasn't. As we heard there, it was just one shot in the middle and he would have got going. But again, that's something for him to look at another day.
Well, I think that's what we talk about always, isn't it? That when we say that, oh, someone is experienced, someone is absorbing pressure, I think that player is understanding these minor details. That's the only difference. There is nothing beyond this. A set batsman going through on a particular day which the conditions demand to play in a certain manner, a batsman cutting certain shots and just, you know, focusing on what is going to work on a particular day is something, the basic which you learn with experience. And similarly for bowlers as well. I think today's wicket is an ideal wicket where you just forget the Yorkers and forget those faster deliveries. You just focus on, you know, getting those slower ones into the wicket. That's something which the Indian bowling attack right now must be thinking that, okay, what is working on this track? it's very hard to score, and they will have those kind of dialogues with the batsmen who already played. Rohit Sharma will echo those thought process around in the bowling unit, that okay, these are the deliveries which one should focus on when you're under pressure. Go to this, set fields accordingly, and you'll get the result.
One possible similarity, we saw the progression of Somo Sarkar, 2 overs in the first game, none in the second, full spell today. Shivam Dube is a very similar kind of bowler.
It's exactly what I was going to say, that this is, if Shivam Dube has to lay his claim to an all-rounder, so far he hasn't managed to do with the bat. But Rohit will probably be patting him on the back and say, son, we need 4 good overs from you. So don't worry, whatever has happened, but you cannot get better conditions than this to bowl. Because if you look down that lineup, we have some people who can keep. I have not seen Shikhar Dhawan ever bowl. I have not seen Manish Pandey ever bowl, not even in the nets.
Yes, absolutely. And Manish Pandey, for those of you who might have come in late, has taken the place of Krunal Pandya. He's justified his claim as a batsman, but what it meant is India will have 5 bowlers and Shivam Dube will be bowling a full quota of 4 overs. Very quickly, gentlemen, it's a record India have to set right. The last 4 times that they've actually played a T20 international and batted first, they've lost in India. Twice to Australia, once to South Africa, once to Bangladesh in Delhi. Can they set that record straight
the
today?
series records, this is a series where records have been broken, isn't it? Bangladesh started with, we started on our show saying that, okay, 8-0, 8-0, India has won, Bangladesh had not won a single T20 game against India, and then they did that. So I think, today is another day where you can surely say, unless something goes wrong very drastically, which I think the chances are very bleak. So I think, yeah, India should be able to win this game comfortably.
I think so too. I mean, if Shivam Dube has to bowl 4 hours, you can't find a more comfortable place to bowl it. I can only tell you. But conditions, these are as good as conditions as any. Unless Bangladesh get off to a fly. I think that's what they also might be thinking. Saying that we need to get 60 in the first 6. That's the only way we can win this game, is we really motor up front against the faster bowlers.
Yes, so that's what we feel, that India should be favourites, but we're not going to put the mockers on them or assume what might happen. We'll be back to assess at the halfway stage in Cricbuzz Combox in the company of someone who really loves Bangladesh and Bangladesh cricket, Virender Sehwag, and we'll see what his thoughts are on the chase for the Bangladesh Tigers. We'll see you all then. This has been My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.